Senate Bill 128 that we've been talking about for several weeks, actually months, if you look at how much time we put in trying to get some kind of incentive base on jail performance. But actually, guys, it's been about 12 years for me or better that I've been pushing this issue, and it's made it further than it ever has in any legislative budget session. But it's still like watching college basketball. About the time you get excited, you get set back. It's had its ups and downs. But right now, we've got it to the Senator Jimmy Higdon filed the bill. We want to applaud him for his efforts for it because it means a lot to our budget in our county. But he filed the bill. We've got it to the committee chairman, which is Whitney Westerfield, Senator Whitney Westerfield. And it didn't make it into committee. They didn't enter it into committee discussions this week. So it's kind of stalled. And of course we have the Kentucky Jailers Association is supported it, and they've publicly come out supporting the bill. I know that Joe Pat has made some pleas with the Magistrates Association. Judge has made some efforts towards the Judges Association, and we haven't got neither one of those associations to step up to push for it. But as much as we still feel confident that it has the means to be successful, we still must get it to a committee and get it into a committee hearing so that we can get it past the committee hearing and pushed in for its first vote before we can leave one chamber and go to the next. And we're it's a budget year, so if it gets stalled out and doesn't make it through the committee or make it to a vote, then it'll be pushed back. Will be 2 more years. I can tell you all, you just made a transfer into the budget, and that's stuff that we typically hadn't been used to doing for some years ago when our cost wasn't up. But guys, our cost is up. Prison per diems, prison cost is up 40 to 50% over the last decade. And for legislators not to give county government even a second thought. I mean, we're looking at, we've had a couple numbers thrown out there, whether it's the 11 years or and better yet, I feel it's more close to the 15 year since that actual last per diem adjustment was done. And that's just uncalled for completely. I mean, and it's going to push us. I mean, it has pushed us. It's pushed us to putting general fund money into the jail. And it never was set up that the state was going to run the jails per se. It was the partnership that the county governments were going to offset and provide housing for state sentence felons, and the state would offset. We would generate some funds that would offset our required obligation to operate our jail, and it's done that. But now, going this far, this long, as we've got increased cost, it appears like it's a no-brainer. Nonetheless, we have to get it to the committee and get it heard, to get it to a chamber, to get it voted and moved to the next chamber. And right now, it appears that Senator Westerfield, it's in his hands to get that done for us. I mean, Jimmy's pushing, talking to folks. We do have the Kentucky Jailers Association, not just a little bit on fire for it, but pushing for this incentive performance bill. It's a bill that will address inmate programming based upon what the county performs and does with programming for inmates. So it not necessarily hits every full service jail. It'll just the jails that are actively doing what we need to do to try to offset recidivism, reduce the return of prisoners to incarceration. I wrote a letter to Senator Higdon this week to try to initiate our support and some talking points. I hope you all use the letter, and it's just we've got to talk. Joe Pat come up with a thought that you know, possibly some magistrates and judges and jailers from Western Kentucky to try to push that with Senator Westerfield. You know, everything's on the table. I think, Judge, you spoke with Senator Higdon today.
I did. Vince Lanning from KCO, and you know, it's.
Who determines if it goes to committee or not?
The chairman has to let it in.
Now, is there any other, does it have any other shot, like if he don't pick it up to go to another committee, or is it just?
It's possibly going, I'm thinking, Joe Pat, that we can go into the budget area, but you know, that part of it, I'm relying on Senator Higdon to guide it.
Is he the chairman of that?
He's the chairman of the Judiciary Committee.
He's the one that has to bring it up to the committee.
He told, from my understanding, he told Senator Higdon that he would take it to leadership, but that's not to the committee. I mean, that's still, I mean, we're looking at a bill that possibly could, you know, it'll probably cost the state budget 15, could be 11 to 15 million, but more, I think right now the actual number's somewhere between 11 to 13 million, depending on if they put the medical piece in it or not. It could drive it up a little bit more. The Kentucky State Police, I think, are asking for about 14 mil, but we've county government doing this service for the state, guys. That the population has grown tremendously. Our county, I mean, we're busted at the seams in a lot of county jails, and 15 years, it's uncalled for. It's absolutely uncalled for.
Just in the short time that I've been in here, when I started, 2 years in, we paid the jail off, which was about a $400,000 debt service coverage.
Yes.
At that time, we were only transferring in about 650, 700,000.
Yeah.
Now we're at almost $1 million.
Well,
and the debt service is gone, so we thought when we got the jail paid for, that'd be $400,000 that we could build an arena, or we could do something in the county that would help the people. But with the draw that jail is doing to us right now, we paid the jail off, and our debt service is gone, and our expenses were more now than we've ever been, and that's not even paying for a building. So we're having trouble as a county judge. Other counties have to be having the same issues, but when you get out of Marion County, it's like nobody's complaining, they don't understand.
And you know, and it goes further than that. It's like the counties that don't have jails, but they're paying for their inmates, it just drives their cost that they have to pay for their inmates.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to make that decision as a court, I feel, this year when we're looking at our costs. Right now, our contract with Washington County is $40.41. I mean, and I can show you our documented costs coming into this year, before we go into another budget year, is $43.57. So, you know, as a county, we're going to have to look at addressing that for us, you know, for our neighboring counties.
How many jails in Kentucky house these federal?
Oh no, the state. I mean, there's probably, there's possibly all 70 of them. House a little bit of them.
There's 12,000.
But not every. There's right now 1050 to 12,000 state offenders. When I came in to the jail system, there was, in 2002, there was probably somewhere around 3,500 to 4,000 prisoners, state felons being housed in the jail systems, and that is now up to 10,000. But heck, it's the best. I mean, cost-wise, I mean, right now your prison cost at you know, at North Point is nearing $70 a day. Blackburn in Lexington is $87 a day. So the state by far is I mean, it's the most economic bed to house them. But at the same time, there is a lot more talking points based on what we're doing, especially with the programs. I can assure you that, I mean, I feel confident in the quality of the programs that we're doing and what we're actually being able to help individuals overcome the clutches of addiction, help them with those tools. I asked it, of course, Judge was with me last time I testified a year or so ago to the legislators. I wish they would study what we're, pick a few jails, or specifically pick ours and study it against what's going on and offered in the prison system. Because the myth to think that just because a prison at 1,200 beds is loaded with programs, that you can talk to all day long. Not everybody gets into programs in prison. They're just like, I mean, so a majority of my state offenders are the most of my state offenders are in programs. You're not gonna see that in a prison system. You're gonna see a smaller percentage.
If these counties of those 70 jails said, hey, you're either gonna have to pay us more or we can't house them.
That's what
You got to get them all on the same page. We can't get everybody on the same page.
You can't.
No.
They don't. You know,
That's, well, a lot of, yeah, well, the judge, that's exactly, Lisa said that some county judges and magistrates are waiting on a justice bill that mandates bond and mandates people to be released, is what they're banking on. And I mean, there are individuals, I mean, there's times that we're going to have incarceration to uphold our justice and our laws. So it's you know, that balance is gonna hit there.
You know, the state offered these incentives to start these programs and things that you all have done, and then they never followed through with
Yeah,
it.
no, even more specifically like that, Craig, is, it was House Bill 463 in 2011, was specific language to create programs in jails as incentive based, and no incentive money was ever slotted to pay anybody. I mean, we're 15 years. You just think 15 years. If anybody wants to use the word kick the can down the road, 15 years that county government has not got any kind of adjustment. Why you know, for decades, we're seeing, in the last decade, there's been 40 to 50% increase on prison population, on housing in prison. What's gonna be any different from a county jail buying, you know, beans and food and cost of, you know, our employment? And that is something that we are struggling with right now. I have been turned down 4 times offering, we did interviews on counselors for a skilled job, and it gets to the pay. Everybody they interested in a job, but says, are you serious? Really? You're gonna pay that for a degree position? We're forced to have to address it. And then that's the programs we're providing that's doing the most benefit for the state. Of course, even with the bill passed, if it cost $13 million to pass it, it's a bargain for the state. There's still extremely less cost than what it is in the prisons.
Is everybody on the same per diem system or just this jail?
All the state jails are set, the per diem set by the state.
All the other programs within the state, they got per diem schedules amounts
all
too.
the county jails are the same.
All the county jails the same. They paint it with one brush. It's not, that's one of the things that I've kind of lobbied with. There's no way that you can look at as paint it the same color or with one brush. It's all going to be different. Just like the prisons, Green River Correctional Complex, Eastern Correctional Complex, North Point Training Center, Blackburn, none of them cost the taxpayers the same money. They're all different monies. There is nothing set.
And they're a lot more.
And they are all, every one of those are above 65. Most of them are 70 to 80 some dollars to operate. Eddyville, $100 a day for every prisoner we're housing in the Kentucky State Penitentiary. Costs us $100 a day. But of course, you got a infrastructure that is extremely old, and it costs more. So, with all of that said, I mean, if we're going to sit on the set, we got to root. We've got to get involved. We need to be concerned.
Pat Ford here with economic development. I hope he can help us a little bit maybe as well with that, because
I mean, it's economic development depends on this. We're well,
kind of stuck.
I can tell you the numbers, the preliminary numbers I mean, it looks, I mean, we're gonna near $1.5 million transfer in the general fund to that budget in soon, in quick order.
So there
Just-
potential is very, very slim.
So you all know what's your operational cost, and that's something, again, I don't care if you call it 11 years or 15 years, it's way overdue. And they're not asking to paint it with the same brush for every bed that they've bought in the county, just paying for the ones that are, you know, the program stuff that costs the money. So, anyway, I need as much, Pat, Joe, Pat, all of you all, I appreciate your efforts. Keep the phone calls going, but we gotta keep the pressure on. I think Senator Higdon said he still felt good, but it was still a long shot.
Still a long shot, what he told me.
It's still a long shot.
Who's the one that needs to put the pressure on the other guy, the chairman, the one that has to bring it up? Same one guy has to.
I know it. It does, I mean, but I guess that's what we find out when we learn more about government and politics, I mean, how our laws and stuff work, that it just doesn't mean that just because you get a bill filed that it's gonna make it to a vote. That's not the way it happens. You gotta get it, it's gotta have some momentum, and it's gotta get into a committee hearing. If it gets stalled, no one brings it in, puts it on the agenda for a hearing, then you just got wasted paper.
About 20% of them get in there,
Well, that's right. That's
20%.
so a long shot that means a lot to our county right now.
It's gonna get in this time, it's 2 more years.
2 more years before this subject will be talked about again. I don't know how long we can take some 1.5s. We'd be liable to be at 2 million by the time 2 years passes. I mean, it's going to put back on you all having to try to face the reality of what are you going to do when you continue ambulance services, you continue jail services, you continue your garbage service, you continue your animal shelter. Somewhere along the line is we got to have the money.
I know we don't want to give up our programs and things, but once we start these programs, are they mandated?
Oh no,
by the state?
you'll see that in the presentation. It's we're in a danged if you do, danged if you
Do
don't.
a lot of good, you know, but
Yeah, I mean you could cut it out and go to the 3 hots and a cot, but it doesn't do anything to the budget. It's still going to be a 1.5 million. I mean, our cost right now, Craig, is in our operational cost, and you can't change that. Whether some of that you could possibly, if you wanted to reduce your jail down to a segment, you'd probably lose your community service, and but you're still going to have an operational cost of electric, lights, food service, and a certain amount of staff. You're not going to be able to let everybody off.
you can't let them all off.
Yeah, so.
We don't want to lose our people. You know, we don't want to have to do that.
But at the same time, I don't know. I mean, it's
mandated to operate for the state prisoners, not for the county prisoners, which is our obligation.
it's our obligation.
Yeah.
Our
but-
obligation's for county, and
Yeah,
it's
and
not
our-
the state which makes the money. So
That
that needs to be the clarification.
exactly right.
So
Good.
that's the thought process. The state programs are for the state inmates, which we get paid for, but it's not an obligation to our county prisoners, which is where we are obligated to house.
Mm-hmm.
Well, back in '08, when we
So that's the
originally
thought.
started, we were in the black. In '08, but with the increase.
We was in the black for 7 years.
Yeah.
But again, guys, you went to a downturn in the economy in '08, and you come back up, and with put the pin the tail on the donkey. 15 years, no adjustment to a per diem for housing state prisoners.
Everybody else goes up.
It's just uncalled for.
It is.
It's uncalled
So
for.
pick up the phones and call Senator Hicks and everybody, wear him out.
That's it. Keep the momentum on it.
Go with Pat, anybody, with Jimmy, anybody, we all need it, the whole county needs it.
I'm gonna tell you, when it comes to it'll affect, I mean, there'll be, other departments get affected by what happens with this.
Well, it looks like he's putting pressure that needs to anybody knows that other guy's put some pressure on.
The Kentucky Jailer Association has put some energy in it this week, but again, we haven't got the magistrates or the judges on board, so.
Let's all make a call. Everybody got his number. Let's call him. I mean, I don't see what it'll hurt. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. That's it. I don't know of anything, but.
While Barry's here, you care if I jump down and we got a.
Oh, yes.
Consider approval to open bids for the body scanner. And we have one bid. There it is, Barry, if you want to open that up.
They get your computer fixed, Barry?
Yes.
Get your computer.
Oh, yeah, my computer's hurt. I had another downfall with computers. Firewall unit went down. We've been down for 2 or 3 days. This is getting rough. Technical support is tough.
The bid is.
This is from Command Source, and this is what we was asking for bids for body scanners so that we can have something for budgetary use as we tackle that arena, ongoing problem. Well, Judge, I find that, they got a lot of information in here.
Something on the back. Very
Let
nice.
me look on it. Well, they're hiding this one. They're talking about it.
Grant.
They may not want us to see it. I'm telling you
They're on
what.
first and last, easily.
Well,
So
I know the glasses.
There's 2 different bids on there.
All right, that's just
Yeah,
information.
There's a bid number 1 and a bid number 2, and that's what it is. 2 different,
Envelopes attached to
2 different types of scanners, I guess, maybe.
$170,000.
It's the same bid, but it's 2 different
Two
options.
different options.
Yeah.
And $138,000. So I have to run through the specs and stuff, but like I said, our initiative was to try to find something on for our budget. Proposal this
Full
year.
body scanners would be done.
Yeah. Yes. All right,
Thank you, Barry.
I'll take it. For the budget.